Why, hello, folks. Today we're going to be talking about the Tenet Cycron, one of the new, well, are they still new at this point? I don't know. One of the Tenet weapons that you get from your Sisters of Parvos. It is a secondary weapon, and it has a lot in common with the Nukor. So if you like the Nukor and you like how that plays, then you're probably gonna like this gun too, because it kinda works the same way. I'll show you. If you shoot, it's a beam and it spreads to other targets. It's like 2 other targets. Or 3. Whatever. It's a beam. It jumps between targets. That's what it does. It also does not have a ammo, sort of whatever. It's got your 40 shots and then it just refills over time. So you shoot and then you deplete it, and if you look at the bottom right, it just ticks back up. So it functions kind of like, how an arch gun works when you're an archwing, or if you're carrying with a necromech. So that's both nice and kind of not nice, because hey, you don't have to worry about conserving ammo, stuff like that. That's neat. But on the other hand, if you deplete it and you just keep on holding down the fire button, then it's gonna be like this. Bap, 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 bap. It's only gonna charge up like 2 shots or something. So you actually have to stop firing and just let it get back up, and then you can start shooting again. Which is not the end of the world. Now I'm just gonna stack up all of my different bonuses from my galvanized mods, from my arcanes, all of that goodness, and then we're gonna talk about what this gun can do. You can see already that these guys are going down pretty hard, and I'm not even doing everything I could be doing here. So I have a Zaw with Exodia Hunt, so let's use that to pull all the enemies together. And then if I just go to town with this thing, these are level 185 corrupted heavy gunners, and woof. So damage wise, this is up there. This is up there with the Nukor. And the Nukor just got nerfed, so it doesn't chain to as many enemies anymore. So if you want to look for something else, but you kind of like the functionality of the Nukor, as you can see here, I don't have to shoot them very hard before they die. A little touch, zap, and that's usually enough to wipe them. And if you look at the numbers here, whoop, that's 25 heat procs. What about this guy? Whoop, 61 heat procs. What about this guy? 31 heat procs. So you stack it pretty fast. And the reason why is because this is a beam weapon. And beam weapons are so good at just stacking status effects on enemies. Way faster than projectile weapons can. So they're immediately at 10 viral stacks. And then the heat stacks just start ticking up, which is great. And things just melt. So it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse of a gun. It's really strong. Really strong. You can do your steel path endurance whatnots just with this bad boy. It's like the Nukor, except that this is like a damage dealer. More so than just a status spreader. So let's look at the build. Now, it's been fixed, people. Galvanized shot works now. There are still some reports that there are some weapons where it's still a bit wonky, I don't know, but in general, it works now. Which means that this is the new sort of auto-include. That you put this in pretty much any gun you have. If you can just stack a bunch of different status effects on enemies, then you do a bunch of more damage. It's like condition overload, but for guns. It's great, and it also gives you more status chance. So with this, you can get up to over 100% on a lot of different weapons. For my element that I chose to add to this weapon, I chose radiation. I would recommend going either radiation or magnetic, just so that you have another sort of dual element that you can combine with the other things that this weapon has. Because, like, this weapon already has heat damage. It has innate heat damage as it is. I chose to still chuck in a primed heated charge in it, and the reason for that is because of status priority. The when applying status effects to enemies, it's going to look at the biggest number among your damaging elements. So since heat is my biggest number, most of the status procs on enemies are going to be heat procs, and that is exactly what I want. They don't need to have more than 10 viral procs because it stops at 10. You can't get more than 10 viral procs on enemies. So I want enemies to get a whole bunch more heat procs than viral procs as it is. And the radiation is just a nice little bonus. It adds more status effects, which means it works with the galvanized shot to just, make enemies take more damage. And it's also sort of a crowd control effect, because radiation procs make enemies start shooting each other instead of shooting you. And this thing hits a bunch of different targets at the same time. So you can spread that a lot. I like increasing the fire rate. I like increasing multi-shot, as always. Ruinous extension is great for beam weapons. Just, it fits perfectly in the Excella slot. And you might notice also that I am not running Hornet Strike, which is because I've, done my farming. I now have a max rank, secondary merciless. If you have, I'm not done with the other ones yet, but it doesn't matter. If you have a max rank, either one of these three, either the dexterity, deadhead, or merciless, you are not supposed to run Hornet Strike anymore. And like I feel like I have to explain this a bit to people, because this is gonna come up time and time again now. When modding for damage, you really have to pay attention to diminishing returns. That is a concept. There's a reason why I'm not just stacking damage, and then damage, and then damage, and then damage, because it has diminishing returns. If I have one mod that gives me plus 100% damage, great, I double my damage. But if I put on another mod that just gives plus 100 damage, it's not going to double again. It's just going to be plus 200% instead of plus 100%. So that's only going to be a 50% increase on top of my first mod. If I add another 100% damage, that's only going to be a 33% increase to my overall damage. So what you want to do instead is you want to stack different types of damage together, because they multiply with each other instead of just adding. So you want normal damage, then you want elemental damage, then you want crit chance, then you want crit damage, then you want multi-shot, then you want fire rate. All of these things are going to multiply with each other and give you these big damage numbers. So the thing about these new arcanes is that when you have this one at max rank and you get the maximum stacks, that's plus 360% damage. And if you just add Hornet Strike on top of that, that's not all that significant anymore. Adding Hornet Strike on top of secondary merciless is not the best thing you can do with your mod capacity. Usually it's probably going to be better now to add more fire rate, which you already do with like Lethal Torrent. But more importantly, just frees up a mod slot to chuck in Galvanized Shot instead for the Condition Overload effect. So this is pretty much what it's going to start looking like from now on when you mod weapons. If you don't want the primed heated charge, you can use one of the primed racism mods instead, like primed Expel Corpus, primed Expel Grineer if you want to run with those. I don't particularly enjoy running with those. I don't enjoy modding the weapon differently just for each single mission. I prefer to have like something universal, but you can use these instead of like primed heated charge or something. It's probably gonna be even better if you want to do it that way. But other than that, it's like this is how you mod weapons now, people. If you got a max rank arcane, one of the new ones, Don't need Hornet Strike. This is now an optional slot. You can put something else in instead. So, this is my build. Now, I'm using Heat Radiation Viral here, which works just fine. If you want to, you can go a bit crazy. If you have something like a Panzer Valpaphyla, you can probably go something like this instead, and use like Heat Corrosive instead of Heat Viral, so long as you have your Panzer, right? And you can make sure that you get the viral stacks on enemies that way. And you're probably gonna be in a pretty good spot anyway. Because then you can just get your dog. You shoot its sting. Start spreading viral to enemies like that. Bam! And, you know, then you can take advantage of the corrosive status procs to just delete enemy armor. Which means you're gonna kill stuff like Grenier or Corrupted even faster. See? I don't even have my stacks yet. But they just... with all of the corrosive procs that they get hit by... nothing. 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 Forget about it. So that's also an option. Just so you know. If you get yourself a Panzer Valpaphyla, then, you know, don't necessarily have to go for the same Heat Viral that we always go for. Go Heat Corrosive instead and teach those Grenier or Corrupted a lesson. Yeah. But that's this gun. That's this nasty little gun. It's pretty cool. It's pretty solid. It hits like a truck, and it looks nice. It's got a nice design to it. It looks cool. It like got that corpus aesthetics, which is like what my main gripe with the Kuva Nukor, because the Kuva Nukor is a goddamn ugly gun, people. I never liked running with it. Yeah, but that's the Tenet Cycron. If you don't have it yet, go get it, because it's really, really good. And I will see you again tomorrow for something completely different.